I'm not afraid anymore. Coco Gauff shocks tennis world with bold statement. After career best win at Wuhan Open. The Wuhan night was still. A veil of mist hovered above the stadium roof as the lights dimmed over the court, leaving only the saw from cameras and a faint applause of a crowd that had just witnessed magic. Coco Gauff stood at the baseline, her racket trembling slightly, not from exhaustion, but from disbelief. Moments earlier, she had struck the final forehand that sealed her career. Best win, a victory not just over an opponent, but over something much deeper, fear, when a chair umpire called game, set, match golf. The 21-year-old didn't leap into celebration. She didn't fall to her knees or scream. Instead, she placed her hand over her heart and closed her eyes. A single tear slid down her cheek, because for Coco Gauff, this wasn't just a win in Wuhan. It was liberation, the weight of expectations. To understand this moment, you had to go back to the days when Coco was just a teenager, hailed as the next arena, a title that felt like both a crown and a curse. Back to the endless interviews, the media, pressure, the comparisons, and the crushing weight of being a prodigy in a world that expected perfection. At 15, she was a smiling sensation of Wimbledon, defeating Venus Williams with fearless confidence. But by 20, she had experienced what few had predicted, the loneliness of fame, the uncertainty of identity, and the fear of failure. In one candid interview last year, Coco admitted, "Sometimes I feel like I'm playing not for me, but for everyone else's expectations." The world saw her power and poise, but not the night she questioned herself in empty hotel rooms, wondering if she truly belonged among the greats. Wuhan, the turning point, the 2025 Wuhan Open, was supposed to be just another tournament, but fate, as it often does in sports, had other plans. From a very first round, Gauff's focus was razor sharp. She wasn't just playing her opponents, she was playing the shadows of her own doubts. Each serve carried statement, each rally of reclamation. In the quarterfinals, she faced a relentless top seed who had beaten her in straight sets just months earlier. But this time, something was different. Coco didn't flinch. She didn't overthink. Her shots flowed like rhythm, her eyes locked in determination. By the time she reached the final, her confidence had transformed from quiet belief to blazing fire. The Wuhan crowd, usually polite, reserved, rose to their feet with every point she won. Children waved American flags. Chinese fans chanted her name in unison. Coco smiled between points, breathing in the energy that once made her nervous. When she finally triumphed in 3 sets, her emotions broke free. And then, standing before the microphone, she said the words that sent shockwaves to the tennis world. "I'm not afraid anymore." The words heard around the world. The statement rippled through social media like a spark igniting dry grass. Journalists scrambled to quote it. Commentators replayed it. Fans flooded her feed with messages of love and admiration. But those 4 words carried meaning deeper than headlines could convey. For Coco, "I'm not afraid anymore," was about more than tennis. It was about life. She wasn't afraid of losing, of criticism, of comparison, or of being misunderstood. She wasn't afraid of being Coco, a young woman who could be fierce on court, yet vulnerable off it, who could chase grand slams and still make time to dance, laugh, and live. In her post-match press conference, she explained, "There was a time I felt trapped by the idea of perfection. Every loss felt like proof that I wasn't enough. But tonight, I played freely. I didn't play to prove. I played to feel. And that's why I'm smiling. The Audience fell silent, many visibly moved. It wasn't just an athlete speaking. It was a soul rediscovering its rhythm, the journey through fear. Behind every I'm not afraid lies a long history of fear. For Coco, fear came, disguised as expectation. At 16, she faced backlash for early losses, critics calling her overhyped. At 18, she struggled with injuries and the mental fatigue of constant scrutiny. Even after her Grand Slam breakthrough in 2023, she confessed that winning didn't silence. The pressure only raised the bar. But 2024 changed everything. That year, Coco began working with a new mental coach who introduced her to a mantra: win the moment, not the match. It taught her to detach from outcome, to live in the point, to play with joy, to love the process instead of fearing the result. Slowly, her game evolved. Her body, language changed. She smiled more, spoke with grounded confidence, and embraced imperfection as part of her beauty. By the time she arrived in Wuhan, she was no longer the girl running from fear. She was a woman walking beside it. The message beyond tennis. After her victory, Coco posted on Instagram, "Cherry blossom. Fear used a whisper. What if you fail? Now I whisper back. What if I fly? Thank you, Wuhan, for helping me find my wings." Within hours, the post had over 3 million likes and tens of thousands of comments. Fans from every corner of the world, young, athletes, parents, dreamers, shared how her message gave them strength. A teenage fan from Brazil wrote, "I was afraid to try out for my team, but now I will. Thank you, Coco." A mother from Kenya commented, "My daughter looks up to you. You teach her that courage is beautiful." Coco's story became something larger than tennis. It became a mirror for anyone who had ever doubted themselves. Reflections in the mirror. That night in her hotel room, Coco sat by the window looking out over the Wuhan skyline. The city shimmered below, vibrant, alive, and endless. Her body ached, but her heart felt light. She thought of her parents, who had sacrificed so much for her dreams, of her younger self, who once cried after every tough loss, of Serena Williams, her idol, who once told her, "You don't owe the world perfection. You owe it your truth." Maybe this was what Serena meant all along. Coco smiled to herself and whispered again, softly this time, "I'm not afraid anymore." It wasn't arrogance. It was peace. The lesson for us all. Coco Gauff decoration. "I'm not afraid anymore" isn't just a headline. It's a universal truth, because fear touches us all. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of losing love or dreams or identity. But Coco's story reminds us that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's a decision to move forward with it. Like her, we can all learn to turn fear into fire, to find grace in defeat, joy in effort, and power in authenticity. Her journey from a timid teenager to a fearless young woman mirrors a path every dreamer must take, where growth is slow, pain is real, and triumph begins the moment we stop running from ourselves. Epilogue. The bloom. Weeks after the Wuhan Open, Coco returned to competition. But this time, the crowd saw something new. A lightness, a joy, a rhythm. She laughed, more between points. She played with creativity. She radiated calm. And though she didn't win every match, she won something more lasting. The hearts of millions who saw in her not perfection, but truth, as one fan's handmade banner read during her next tournament, "Play free, Coco. The world's already proud." And perhaps that's the beauty of blooming. Real Growth doesn't come from avoiding storms, but from learning to dance in rain. Cherry blossom. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next